will die. That was close.
Hey guys, what is going on? Chris here with Shughead Gaming, bringing you my review for Eden Tomorrow, developed by Solpix and released February 12th, 2019, exclusively for PSVR. This is selling for an estimated price of $20, and of course that depends on your region. As usual, this game was reviewed on a PS4 Pro. Eden Tomorrow is a cinematic sci-fi adventure. Crash landed on an alien planet with no memory of who you are or why you're there. You and your faithful drone companion Newt must venture across this strange planet in seek of answers. Eden Tomorrow looks like the big adventure that VR was meant to tell, but does it pull off this ambitious game? Let's find out. As always guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you'd like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing. As always, let's kick off this review with a look at graphics. Straight up, in many ways, Eden Tomorrow is one of the best looking PSVR games to date. The world that your adventure takes place in is on a scale and in a visual quality for which I honestly thought was beyond the capabilities of the PS4. It should be noted that this was on a Pro, and as an exclusive PSVR game with Pro support, it is most definitely optimized to get the most out of our little system. Eden Tomorrow is an adventure game told through huge and fantastic set pieces, ranging from daunting cave systems, huge derelict spacecrafts, and massive open-world vistas. Draw distance is incredible, and for the most part almost free of jagged edges and blurring. Impressively, these levels are not just static background cheats either, as you can literally fly around in your drone up and out to these areas. Lighting effects here demonstrate a surprisingly competent use of ambient occlusion as they cast real-time shadows and light sourcing as you exist in this world. Other effects like god rays, smoke, and floating debris can be seen and used in all sorts of ways, and again, like the lighting, is especially remarkable considering the scale of this game. Animations and texturing of human characters is not on par with, say, something like Farpoint, as characters lack the detail and polish as seen in that game. However, when it comes to your drone companion Newt, it is easy to see that some real care has been put into his hands and body movements, as they are complex and believable, and they really succeed at making you feel like you're interacting with a real character that can actually emote to you. Texture detail can be a little hit or miss at times, with some areas like the open canyon parts feeling a little undercooked and bland, but then in the next area feeling fully realized and polished. The overall impression with the graphics is one of awe and holy crap moments, with just a few times where I kind of saw some chinks in the armor and maybe a little bit of ambition that wasn't quite reached. Eden Tomorrow isn't quite AAA, but it certainly tries to reach for it. All in all, Eden Tomorrow often amazes and really succeeds at creating a truly immersive and authentic sci-fi world. Sound is up next.
What is that? That sounds awful.
The audio in Eden Tomorrow, like the visuals, really attempts to shoot for the sky, and mostly it gets there. The first real memorable audio moment in Eden happens right in the start, as you wake up and are greeted by a tiny service drone who names himself Newt. Newt, coming off like a combination of Ghost from Destiny and Claptrap from Borderlands, is brilliantly voiced, carefully balancing between being informative with tutorials and exposition, as well as providing companionship and being entertaining. Despite some repetitive lines here and there, Solpix is very successful at bringing all these aspects together and without making Newt irritating. Your character can't speak. However, other human characters are also voiced adequately, even if they are just cardboard characters and a little bit generic. Music is of the epic and orchestral variety and works really well to help make Eden Tomorrow feel like the cinematic sci-fi adventure it wants to be. Eden Tomorrow sounds big and polished with its well-crafted soundtrack. Other sound effects in the game are handled well overall, with believable sci-fi tech noises and a nice use of ambient world sounds that make the world feel alive. The game at times does run out of sound ideas though, and especially when you're interacting with alien creatures. For a while, they sound big and impressive, but they do repeat their creature type sounds a bit too much, making them feel a bit cycled. 3D audio could have had better positioning and detail, but overall, it still delivers and helps to bring this fairly polished sound mix together. And that brings us to gameplay. The term walking simulator gets thrown around in VR often. This usually has a negative connotation, alluding to the fact that there's nothing to do in the game but walk through it. To label Eden Tomorrow as such isn't entirely wrong, but at the same time it's not very fair to what it actually offers. Maybe the first large-scale adventure game PSVR ever got was Robinson's The Journey. With fantastic visuals and a drone companion at your side, it's easy to draw comparisons to Eden Tomorrow. However, dinosaurs aside, I felt Robinson's The Journey too contained, showing you epic set pieces but never actually letting you go there. Instead, it had you slowly walking through what was ultimately a very small play space, doing repetitive tasks, while sort of telling a story no one cared about. Like Robinson's, Eden Tomorrow is a bit weak on its narrative, as it completely relies on the trope of not knowing who you are or what you're even doing on this alien planet. That being said, Eden Tomorrow is still a much more intriguing story of discovery than the day-to-day activities of a little boy found in Robinson's The Journey. Also, like Robinson's, Eden Tomorrow is repetitive in its tasks, as outside of adventuring through the world, your limited tasks consist of scanning things, searching for power modules for Newt, hacking terminals, moving things from place to place, or shooting your sonic blaster to open up new areas. However, that being said, unlike Robinson's, while the game does quickly run out of ideas in the gameplay department, it often more than makes up for this lack of creativity with giant set and action pieces that can be jaw-dropping at times when in the headset. Unlike Robinson's, Eden for the most part keeps the scenery fresh and epic as you continue through the 4 to 5 hour campaign, making it truly feel like you're on an adventure across an unknown planet. Throw in some awesome, impressive, and increasingly larger creature moments ripped right out of the best of sci-fi cinema, and we have a made-for-VR adventure. And speaking of traveling, possibly the biggest improvement that Eden Tomorrow makes on Robinson's The Journey is in its unchained mobility. Smooth turning, full locomotion, and a run option make playing through Eden actually fun, and not the excruciating, plodding crawl that Robinson's was. This full-on VR experience then blows the doors off as it lets you take control of Newt and go soaring overhead, deep into caves and down into alien structures. Flight in Newt is fast and smooth and probably one of my more recent favorite experiences in VR. Controls of both Newt and yourself both handle admirably well. Solid tracking ensures the intense VR experience is solid. So yeah, Eden Tomorrow runs out of ideas before the halfway point, and it really doesn't offer any gameplay to master or puzzles to solve. All this being said, I loved my time in Eden Tomorrow for simply the experience and adventure alone. Not unlike another one of my favorite PSVR titles, The Solace Project, Eden Tomorrow is a game that is maybe too simple and lacking in gameplay mechanics to work in a flat game. But like The Solace Project before it, Eden Tomorrow is at times simply amazing in its ability to take you into a truly immersive sci-fi world that scratches all the right itches for this sci-fi nerd. Eden Tomorrow is controlled with only a DS4, and like I said, it is a full-on VR experience. You'll be running, turning, and flying while spinning and looking all around. This is the type of VR that I want, but it's not for everyone. Eden does offer click turning and blinder options to help people with motion sickness, but just know going in, Robinson's The Journey nursing home speed, this is not. Eden Tomorrow can be played seated with a minimal amount of room required, as you will only need to casually look up, down, and around. And finally, that brings us to fun factor and my final review. Like I said, this is the type of VR that I like. Big, epic, and glorious, with full movement to adventure around it in. The gameplay is a bit lacking and the story not as exciting as it thinks it is. However, Eden still massively succeeds in delivering a true VR adventure. I hate number rating scales and instead rate games on a scale of buy, wait for a sale, or burn it to the ground. I know from talking with some of my fellow PSVR tubers that this title is going to be a bit polarizing amongst us. Some found it just boring and lacking in too many areas. For me, however, I loved the experience and had a lot of fun during the 4 to 5 hour campaign. This game doesn't scream replay value, but for the budget price of $20, which is equivalent to a night at the movies by yourself, I only slightly hesitate to call this a must-own PSVR title. Basically, it comes down to how you play VR. If you need to be challenged and constantly doing, then yeah, you may want to write this off as a walking simulator. But if you're like me and you put the headset on to go into another world, Eden Tomorrow is an adventure worth investing in. That's it for me, guys. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you'd like to see more PSVR content from me, please consider subscribing. And for video updates, hit that bell icon. I'll catch you guys on my next video.